Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. This is the first time I'm doing a live video on my YouTube channel, and this feels really weird, but I am gonna give it a shot because I feel like this could not have been an edited video. I wanted this to be a real-time conversation so that I can chat with you all in case you want to ask me some questions right now. And if not, hi Sanjana. And if not, we can just go ahead and answer the questions that I have over here. And that would be easy because I have prepared it. I'm going to first start with how this first year has been because I feel like I expected it to be a lot different than how it actually was. It started a little slow because I came in the winter intake on December 20th, 2022, and I came in like 20 days before I actually had to start my college, and it was kind of like slow because it was the Christmas time and everyone was celebrating, and I was making new friends because I did not really have anyone to celebrate it with over here. Luckily I had my accommodation sorted and everything was done, but it was pretty slow because I was worried about starting college, meeting new people, how it's going to be. And I also had to look for part time jobs because obviously, if you want to have a private room to yourself, it's best to have yourself a part time job. And that is what I was, that was like the main goal in the first few days. And I for the first, I think, 20 days I couldn't do anything because it was the holiday season, and after the holiday season was done, everything was really slow and no one was hiring. So it took forever for me to like navigate through this because I was applying for jobs on LinkedIn and everything. I'm going to answer most more specific questions about that later on, but I have a lot of questions on the video that I uploaded about my journey from India to Canada, and there were like 250 plus comments on that. So I decided to like jot down a few questions from there and then discuss about that in the Q&A. But for now, I'm just going to like speak about the journey, like I said before, and I kind of lost the point. But going back to that, so eventually, in like a month or so, I got myself a part-time job, and I don't want to speak about the details of it because it can be the longest video of my life. But what I want to say is like the first 20 days that I spent without the job, I was mostly living in my home because the college was like half of it was online, half of it was offline. And I think mine was the first semester that was like that because the semester before that was like 100% online, and everybody who came to Canada also had to attend it online, which kind of sucks because why would you even like make an effort to live here if you are not being able to go to college? And that is the reason I decided to extend my intake and come in Jan instead of September of 2022. But after that period of like 20 days was done, and I was like at home looking for jobs, relaxing. I used to feel like this is so slow. I'm not doing anything. Every day is the same. But eventually when my job started and when my college started, days were flying by. I was not even realizing, and weeks had passed and months had passed, and it was already my birthday, and it was June. And I was like, wow, it's been already 6 months I am over here. And it kind of felt surreal because you don't realize it once you start your routine, and once it starts like flowing in, you don't realize what's going on, and how each of these days are passing by. But what I feel like helped me a lot was staying connected with my family, staying connected with the friends that I have had for years. Because you when you're alone, you kind of like forget who you are. I don't even know if this happens to other people, but this happens to me a lot because I'm a Gemini, and I'm not blaming it on being a Gemini, but this is a trait that I have, that I change every time I am with new people. I'm kind of like adapting to everything that is currently happening. And that kind of, sometimes I lose my core personality, so I need to go back to it and be myself. So the best way to do that is speaking to my family, staying in touch with my friends from back home. And I feel like that like keeps me grounded and keeps me the way I am. And that is the only way my mind stayed sane amongst all of the chaos that was happening. When you move away from your home to any city, forget about Canada or just like any other country. But yeah, that's basically how I would like to describe the first few months. And later on, when I started my second program, which I'm currently in, without taking a break or any like big, what is that called, a break semester or whatever it is, I did not take that. I'm doing back to back semesters, and I am in my final semester right now. And this whole year, I have not realized where it went by because it was just so quick, and everything was happening back to back. You have college assignments, you have your job, you also want to like spend some days off at home. Like today is one of those days. I have my college today, but I decided to skip it because I was not feeling like it. And it's okay to like sit at home guilt free. And I feel like it's essential to an extent, because you sometimes lose the point when you're looking at like, when you don't realize the day is passing by and you don't take it one at a time. You kind of feel like, what did I do in the past 20 days, right? And that's the reason why I am still working on it. And I would like to tell you that just take it one day at a time. Decide what you want to do today and try to do it today, because tomorrow is never going to come. You're never going to be able to like say that, okay, I decided this yesterday and I did this today, unless you actively work towards it. So I kind of keep this diary that I have all the questions in this. But to be honest, if you see these pages, this was like 2023 when I actually started in. I have so many notes that I have made all of these months of how I was feeling, of what I wanted to do, and how I wanted to achieve something. Like, for example, I wanted to do the YouTube. I wanted to be active on YouTube. I'm still struggling with that because it's not easy to do everything. And um, what actually keeps me at it is going back to the goals that I have written. And even though like for 20 days I've not actively worked towards it, I kind of like try to go back to it after those 20 days. When I look at it and I realize that, okay, I was slacking a little bit, maybe I should get back on track and start doing this. And that kind of helps. So take one day at a time. Look at things in a way where you're not worrying about the larger picture, but you're like doing one thing at a time. I am saying this as someone who actually still struggles with it, but if you start early, I think you'll be able to do it better and not slack like me. But another thing that I did not realize would affect my life so much was the fact that you need to cook every single day. And that's something no one coming from India, I mean, I won't say no one, but most of us coming from India are not used to, because our moms and our family cooks for us. And rarely we are in this situation where we have to cook our own food every single day. Of course, in a week, like once or twice, you might be in a situation where you cook for your family or you cook for yourself, but that's different. Planning groceries, buying them, having like having a meal plan. What am I going to make today? So, for example, if I'm going to plan to make pasta, I need to know if I have pasta. I need to know if I have cheese or milk or whatever ingredient that you want to add to it. So, it takes a lot of your headspace to plan that. Tiffin service Zindabad, I understand, but I am someone who doesn't like other people. I don't necessarily like food cooked by people. I don't eat it that often because I feel like sometimes it's too oily, it's not the kind of taste I want. So it's better if you cook for yourself, and it also saves you a lot of money, because even the tiffin service is going to be a fixed charge for that specific meal that you get. But if you want to have a mid-time snack or something in between those two meals, it's going to be expensive. So I would rather do the groceries and have my kitchen stocked in so I can cook anything I want at any time. But yeah, if you have a really hectic schedule, go for the tiffin service. I have so many friends who actually do that, and that really helps them because they don't know how to cook, right? So it's a lot easier. So find out what works best for you, and like that is an important aspect of your everyday life. So think about that actively. And enough about that. I think I've rambled on for 10 minutes about just random things. But now I'm gonna I'm gonna dive into the questions. There are quite a few, and I've kind of made like categories of what kind of questions there are. The first one that I am going to answer are about the are the questions that were asked in the video, and they were specifically about my experiences in this whole process of planning to come to Canada, applying to colleges, doing my visa procedures, actually flying alone all across the globe and coming here. So all of these questions are going to be first, and then I'm going to answer questions about immigration, or the latest updates that have come in. And I have a lot of questions again from the same video that I said that was about the journey from India to Canada. If you haven't seen it already, I will link it later on because this is going to be on my channel. I'm going to upload this. But go ahead and watch that if you haven't. Now, let's deep dive into the questions. Now, a lot of people are coming here, or like essentially plan to come here after the 12th standard to do the diploma or whatever courses that they're planning to. So I have this question that's about, did I complete my 12th? Was I asked for my 12th standard documents at the airport or at immigration? I have completed my graduation in India, which was in commerce. So I'm a BCom, and I have worked in India for 3 years before coming here. So I have completed my 12th, but nowhere was I actually asked for those, um, what do you call, like those documents. Not at the airport, or of course at immigration. They already have your details. You've already submitted your transcripts of all the years that you have studied. So I don't think that should be a worry, but maybe it is for some people who only have that as their educational document. So it's best to keep your documents handy, carry every kind of document that you have in India and bring it with you. Keep it safely in your bag, don't lose it. But yeah, it's best to have it with you. Um, how much did I pay extra for the luggage? A lot of flights nowadays don't allow two bags for students because that started when I came in 2022, where they stopped giving students the ability to carry free luggage for like two luggage of 24 kgs and one cabin bag. So my flight only had one 23 kg luggage and one cabin bag. I paid extra 6,000 something, which amounts to $100 or $150. From what it's $100, 100 Canadian dollars. But I think you should check with your airline. Every airline has an extra luggage policy. I'm gonna sneeze. Maybe not. So it has an extra luggage policy. Every airline is different. Air Canada had $100 when I was coming in. So go ahead, check your ticket, and most of the times the details are mentioned on that ticket. What program am I doing in Canada? This is a very good question because I am planning to do a video about this, and I have been saying it a lot of times, and I've still not been able to do it. But I am going to do it, and I'm going to shoot it in the college so we kind of get the feel of it. So I first completed the I first completed the marketing management program from 2022 January, 2023 January to August of 2023. And I completed it in 8 months. And I did not do the co op semester, but it essentially has a co op semester along, like compulsory co op with it. It's not compulsory co op, you can opt in for it, but whoever like opts for that semester would want to like consider if they want to do it. I opted for it initially, but because I decided to do a program, the second program that I was doing, which was starting in September, I kind of decided to not do the co op semester because then I would not have been able to do this program. Having said that, the second program that I did was interactive media management. The first one, which was the marketing management, was in the Hazel McCallion campus, which is HMC. And the one I'm doing currently is in the Trafalgar campus, and that's in Oakville. I live in Mississauga, even though I travel to Oakville every single day for college. That's about my programs. The second question was okay, did I get hot boiled water for my noodles? So there was this one tiny part of my journey from India to Canada where I'm eating ramen noodles that I carried from India on the flight, because I had heard that the flights don't really have that good food when you're traveling from another connecting country. Oops, sorry, from another connecting country to Canada. So I decided to carry some noodles with me, and I was not surprised that the food was not good, and I'm glad that I carried that. And someone has asked me if I got hot or boiled water for those noodles, and the answer is yes. You just have to ask them for it, or you can go back to their pantry, and they have like this dispenser of hot and cold water. So that is good enough for making your ramen. So you are covered. Um, how did I get a job and a place to stay? These are two completely different questions. I would like to address the stay part before I move on to the job. So, I started looking for my accommodation right when I was in India, and I did not come here and then hunt for it. A lot of my friends did that, and it was extremely stressful for them to do it. But I did it at home, and I was extremely lucky that I found myself an accommodation while I was in Canada. I had to pay the first month's rent way before I was actually going to come in, but it was worth it because I came into this house the day I landed in Canada, and most people have to stay in Airbnbs, which is not exactly feasible because you feel like you're a nomad and you don't belong anywhere. The first few nights are extremely difficult because you're sleeping alone in a different country on your own for the first time, so it's not exactly easy. So yeah, you should start looking for a place way before you come here and try to find it before you come here. If you don't, that's fine. Speak to some friends. You can drop me a message on my Instagram. I can help you, navigate through where you can find your accommodation, what's the best way, how to not be scammed, etc. And I can help you with that. But if you have some friends over here, speaking to them is going to be the best decision ever. The other thing is that you should look at places that fit in your budget. So decide your budget. If you want a sharing room, sharing accommodation, or private accommodation. I wanted my private accommodation, like my private room. So I pay 750 as the rent for the room that I live in. And you have to decide according to what your budget is like. I think you can get a sharing room for around 450 to 500 over here, but it can really depend on the area that you're living in, and also the kind of commute situation around your area. Then the next question was, how did I get a job? That's going to be a long conversation because, like I said, it took me a long time to find my job. And then the way I found it was, one, I started applying on Indeed, because initially I looked at LinkedIn, but it didn't really help me because LinkedIn is more for like professional jobs and not something that you're looking on the side or part time. I am working as a marketing coordinator, so I found myself a field job, which is also again something that touchwood not a lot of people are able to do. But if I think I got lucky at that point, and people also mostly choose to do some part-time job as cashiers or baristas at cafes, and those are really easy and not very stressful at all. They teach you everything, and it's kind of fun to do that as well, because I work in another cafe as well, and I kind of like it. And it's kind of fun because you meet a lot of new people, and you kind of get to understand the differences in the cultures that they are in your country and they are over here. So there's a plus to that. And the other place that should be something that you should really like sought for is, was that even a correct sentence? I don't think so. But what I mean is, the thing that you should actually actively look at is on campus jobs. And again, this is going to be way before you come here. On campus jobs are finalized before the semester starts. So make sure that you do that. If you've already come here, then look out for the next semester. Maybe then you'll be able to get a job for the next semester. And there will be job openings in your college, on the website or the portal, whatever. Sheridan has Sheridan Works and Sheridan Student Union, which I am a part of. And it's also really fun to be around people and, do activities in college, have fun events, be a part of those. It's extremely fun. And I was always the one to do that, even when I was in India, where I was in Kirkuk. And I used to do, like, I used to be one of the crew members at Dimensions, which is their college fest. So I've always been a sucker for those. And it's super fun that I get to be a part of those over here as well. The next question is, when do my classes begin? So semesters over here start on 8th of January for the winter intake, and on 5th of 6th of September for the September intake. That's what I remember, but it's mostly the same day every single year. So you just check your, I think it's mentioned in the offer letter, but if not, it's definitely mentioned in the website. So check for that. Now, the last question about like my specific journey is, who helped me in my immigration process? Usually, a lot, not usually, but a lot of chunk of people go for like those expensive consultants. No, what are they called? Yeah, they're called consultants, education consultants. And I did not really go for that because I did not want to spend more money on the same information that I get for free from services like IDP. Uh, but what's important in IDP as well is that you find yourself a good immigration consultant inside of IDP. So I found a great one, and she was extremely helpful for my whole journey. But the one thing that you have to keep in mind when you're dealing with consultants that are free of charge is that you need to be on top of your things. They may or may not be, but you need to be the one who's reminding them, who's asking them as to what's going on, how's it going. And also you need to be the one making the documents, doing everything on your own, so you know that it's been done right and there is no mistake that's been made. I've been speaking for 22 minutes, so I'm just gonna take a sip of my coffee because my throat is drying up. I'm gonna read the comments. Tiffin service Zindabad. I also want to cook myself, but because of work shift in college, I can't. So have to rely on tiffin service. I completely agree. So many of my friends do that, right? Because it's not always easy to manage the shift timings, and they may not always be favorable for us. So tiffin, if you find a great one, that's amazing because not a lot of people are able to find a good one. So if you know any, and if you're living around in Mississauga, please let me know as well. I would love to I would love to try it out. But I'll just get back to the questions that are now more generic as compared to the ones that were before this, which was all about how I felt or what journey I went through, what choices I made. This is more about the generic information. It's about how long is the Canadian admission process. Now, with the current updates by IRCC, I don't know how long it's going to take for you because there are some restrictions that colleges have now when it comes to offering you guys the offer letters. But when I was doing it, it was around a 2 to 3 months time frame between the time you actually apply to the time you get your offer letter. I applied at the end of January and I did not hear back from any college till I think mid March or April. I think March. I did not hear back from them till March, and then eventually they have like a 1 month period for you to pay your fees, and after that you start your visa process because you need to have your fees paid for an entire year to be applicable for non sorry SDS. So that's another complicated situation. I would really recommend going to the college website And most of the colleges over here also run some seminars that happen really frequently, and those seminars are majorly about what you should be doing, things you should know before you kind of like wait for something. Maybe you haven't checked your application portal and they have requested you for some additional documents, so checking the application portal is also extremely important. There are some of these important things that you need to be mindful of after your application. So be proactive, check the website of the college and follow pages on Instagram that frequently give you information about the immigration updates. Now, this can be tricky, right? Because a lot of pages are kind of misleading students with the information and they're not exactly accurate with the kind of information that's being shared. But why I say that you should follow these pages is to know that there is an update. Now, whether to trust on the information given by this page or not is secondary. You can see that, okay, there is a new update by IRCC. What you can do is just go on Google, type out that latest update by IRCC and go to their actual website, because their website has like a quick updates list or something like that, wherein you don't need to read the entire article. They have given you in bullet points what exactly is this update about. And a lot of those updates recently have been about how many students are being accepted in Canada. They have capped it to some 3 lakh odd number of people, I think 3 lakh 50 every single year. And a lot of colleges have not been allowed to like be eligible for the work permits that you get after study. So it's kind of become a lot more complicated now than it was a year ago. So I would say be careful and be aware about everything that you're doing, every step that you're taking. Don't trust anyone blindly, because you don't want to be in a situation where you're helpless. You want to have things in under control and in your hands every time you're trying to deal with something. So that's one thing. And who helped me? Okay, how long did the admission take? Can students work while studying? This is another complicated question because, of course, students can work when they're studying. They can work 20 hours every week, which is the generic one. There were some updates recently where the government had allowed people to work more than 20 hours, but that was only applicable to a certain set of people and not everyone. So I initially thought that I also came amongst those who was allowed to work for more than 20 hours. But soon enough, when I was doing my research, I found out that I was not, and I was careful enough to not exceed that limit and create any issues for myself, because you don't want to be in a mess with that, because everything gets recorded on your SIN number and you need to be careful about your hours. That is one thing. So obviously check on your study permit, because the details of it are written on that, and it's also written as to where you can check for the latest updates about it. If you see any latest update that just says that students are allowed to work for more than 20 hours, make sure that you tick all the eligibility criterias for being allowed for 40, like whatever number of hours it is, because a lot of times it's completely different. um, that's about working while studying. How long did the visa process take? This is a very, very heartbreaking question, mainly because the visa process can take anywhere around 20 to 4 months. Mine took 3 months, which was scary because I had to like worry about it so much, and it was really stressful, and I don't think anyone deserves to go through that. But that's how it is in the recent times. Maybe it's gotten better afterwards, I don't really know. But I think you should check how your things work out. And there are timelines that are on the IRCC website as well. How often do you use the weekly planner behind? um I do use it very often. If you see the tiny things written on this side, it's about the days I have my part-time job, which is actually just 3 days this week. And the things on this side are always there, mostly because I need to buy something. I needed to buy hangers that the other week, so I have written hangers. and like laundry basket and that, because one laundry basket was not enough for me because I don't do laundry that often. But yeah, it's I do write it very often, and to be honest, I kind of forget to look at it. But yeah, that was a fun question. um so now that I've answered about the students working while studying, and also how long the visa process takes, I want to jump into a question that I don't know how to answer, but it's about racism. Um, do you face racism in Canada? There is no yes or no kind of answer in this, because there is no like exact definition of racism anymore. Someone being sweet to you or someone not being sweet to you can also be considered as racism. So it's a tricky situation. But I would just like to keep it short and say that it really depends on the kind of locality you're in or the kind of people you're interacting with. I have come across some situations where I've seen racism happen to people, but it hasn't happened towards me yet. And it's something that you should be aware about, because you need to also know how to act when something like that happens in front of you or towards you. So I would suggest like be a little more aware and educated about it, because sometimes when you say some things about people who are from any other country apart from yours or not Canadian, sometimes you don't realize that you're passing something that can be borderline racial. So be kind of considerate about everyone. Don't always, you might be the victim in some situations, but you might be the one who causes it sometimes, not with intention, but sometimes without realizing it. So be careful about that. And actually, that's kind of it with my list of questions. I do want to know if you guys have any questions, or if anyone's watching right now. I really want to know if you guys have any other questions. What do you suggest students with the recent study permit news, because it has broken a lot of dreams, and how they can deal with it? Again, like I said, it's really tricky, right? They keep changing so many things, and the policy that they have put together right now is again only for 2 years. I would really suggest still trying for like getting your applications in, because I mean, if you don't try, it might just be like you are giving up without, like, with assuming that it won't work out. Of course, it's a lot tougher than what it was a year ago, but if I was in your shoes, I would still go for it. Because if there is a chance that it's written, like, written is a really like philosophical concept, but I feel something's meant to happen, it will happen. So if you strongly feel about it, just trust it and go for it. But again, Darshan, be aware about all of the nitty gritties that are coming in, and make sure your application is done right, so you are increasing your chances of getting in. So that would be my answer. Dealing with it is another situation. Dealing with the emotional aspects of it is going to be tough, because like, it's your parents are involved too, their hopes and dreams are involved in this as well. So kind of be like patient about it, and don't like put all your hopes and dreams onto it. Also have a plan B if something doesn't work out, because that's the only way you can keep your ship afloat. So yeah, I hope that helped. If there are any more questions, do let me know. I really do want to continue the live until you guys have questions. I am kind of done with the questions list that I had. I would like to speak more about any kind of college related questions, or any kind of like living in Canada type questions that you have. Because if I was, oh, I didn't realize that this happens over here as well. Let me just do this. Wait. Yay! Okay, what I was saying is I do want to answer a lot more questions. So if you have any, please like put them down in the chat box right now. I'll give you some time for it. Okay, what are your thoughts about attestation letter from province? I really don't know about that. Like, I don't know what that is required for because I haven't needed it until now. But if it is PR related or like it's about like immigrating to this country, I wouldn't know as much because I haven't really applied for it. Hi Shabam, how are you? But like I was saying, I don't know a lot about the attestation letter from the province or anything on that front. But if you would like to tell me what it is, I would definitely do my research on it and try to get back to you. It's for international students. Okay. On a scale of 0 to 10, how much will you recommend studying in Canada? Do you actually want to study? Is my first question. Because that scale is different if you don't want to study here versus if you want to actually come here to study. I came here to study and I feel it's been going great. I think it's a 9 on 10. The one point that I take off is for the kind of education systems a lot of different colleges have, which may not be as intensive or detailed as mine is because I chose my program extremely carefully. I really wanted to do a program that actually added value to my portfolio, to my resume, and I did not want to make it just like just like like just for the sake of studying or having a 2 year study duration. I did not have that outlook, so I came here to study. So for me it was zero. I mean, for me it was 9 on 10. So if that answers your question. Darshan is asking, thank you for this question. This question was for other students. I got an offer letter. Thank you for your reply. I am so happy that you got an offer letter and I wish you all the best. I hope your application gets through before the September 2024. If that's the case, you're extremely lucky because I think it's something's changing after September 2024 from what I understood. It might be different, but yeah, I am really happy that you got the acceptance letter. All I want to say is do focus on your study, don't forget about it after coming here, because it's going to be worth it at the end of your study period. But in case you have any more questions, I would just say that drop this in the comment section because this video is going to be there on my channel if you want to go back to it, revisit it sometime later. But this was really fun. There was like 40 minutes of me talking, and I didn't even realize how it went by. Study as well as explore everything else that comes with it. It's a 10 on 10. Trust me, I have had the time of my life. I have made such amazing friends from different parts of the world, and it's been amazing. I really love the fact that you I was able to like balance out my life in a way where I can work, I can study, and I can also have good experiences. Because yesterday, like literally yesterday, I went to downtown Toronto and I went to a networking event, which is again extremely important if you're looking for a job, which I would be in the next 2 to 3 months as I'm completing my study duration, and I would be needing a job at the end of my study duration, which is in April. So I went to this networking event yesterday, which was held by the Brain Station, which is an institute in downtown Toronto, and they kind of like have all of these networking events, boot camps, and like open days where you can drop in, meet new people that are from the same industry as yours, learn new things from them. And I went there with two of my friends, and it was such an amazing time. I have uploaded about it on my Instagram as well. So if you don't follow me there, you can go ahead and have a look at it. If you want to reach out to ask something more specific, it would be easier for me to have a conversation with you on Instagram. But exploration wise, I would just say it's a 10 on 10 because the kind of freedom you get after coming here is extremely empowering, I feel, as someone who wasn't as independent as I thought I was when I was back home. So, yeah, I hope that answered your question. If there are any more, like I said, drop them in the comment section below, and I would be happy to connect with you or to help you navigate through it. If you think these live sessions work better than me just uploading a video, shooting it, and uploading it later on, I would be happy to do these because I kind of had fun doing it without worrying about how I'm sounding, or maybe I should cut this or like remove that, whatever. This is just raw and simple, and I kind of liked it. So I would want to do this more often. So if you liked it too, do let me know in the comment section below. I would be happy to do more of these and about the topics that you actually want to know or want me to speak about. So I will be uploading a few fun videos with my friends that would be not about Canada or immigration specifically, but I would just want to vlog or blog my life here just for the sake of cherishing the memories and the moments that I spend here and make a life out of it. There's a question about study permits and the fact that they have been stopped for some date in 2024. Darshan, I'm not really sure because is it true? Because I've not heard it anywhere. I haven't heard it anywhere either. So, unless you have read it on the immigration website or there is some solid source that you can base it off on, I would believe it. But if there is no kind of official announcement, and if there is some Instagram page that's just predicting that okay, there might not be something, I wouldn't say you should trust it because it's not really the best source of information to rely on. Happy Republic Day. I know, right? I'm kind of celebrating my Republic Day holiday today. I did not go to college today. I just did not feel like it, and I thought maybe let's be on the Indian patriotic side and spend this day and speak to you all funnily about my life in Canada. But yeah, happy Republic Day to all of you all as well. And if there are any other questions, like I said, drop them in the comment section below. Reach out to me on Instagram. And this was a really fun session that I had. And I hope to have more of these. I do want to know if this timing worked for you all because it's okay for me because it's like 1 o'clock in the afternoon, but it's like 11:45 for you all. So I don't know if it's the best time. I think it was the best time for me when I was coming here because I used to spend like sleepless nights scrolling through videos of people living in Canada, like understanding how their life is and what they do, how their days look like, and kind of visualizing myself in their position. So that was fun. But yeah, if you think this time worked for you all, do let me know. And this was really fun. Thank you so much for being active, everyone who asked me questions on this. This was really fun. Thank you for joining, Darsha and Himanshu and everyone else. This was really fun, and I hope you guys have a great weekend ahead as well. And until next time, have a great time.